Trump's attorney general spent the vast majority of his time as the head of the Justice Department doing absolutely everything he could to cast doubts onto investigations into Trump. He argued that the DOJ and the FBI, institutions that he oversaw, were somehow part of a deep state plot to overthrow President Trump. To appease Trump in 2019, Barr appointed John Durham, a career Justice Department prosecutor, to investigate the origins of the intelligence community's investigation into Trump and his 2016 campaign dealings with Russia. Right before the 2020 election, Barr would promote Durham to special counsel, protecting his work from any future DOJ's grasp. And as Barr promised, special counsel John Durham did get to the bottom of it. But after nearly 4 years of investigating, it appears as though there was nothing at the bottom. John Durham lost the two key cases he brought to trial. They both ended in acquittals. The one guilty plea Durham did secure ended with no prison time. So despite what Donald Trump and Bill Barr would like you to believe, John Durham, it seems, found no evidence of what Bill Barr had called one of the greatest travesties in American history, which really undermines the very notion that there was a travesty to begin with. And today, in a bombshell piece from an intrepid group of reporters at the New York Times, we are learning new details about Bill Barr and John Durham's efforts to craft a counter-narrative that Trump was, in fact, a victim of a deep state plot. Here's a headline. Quote, Barr pressed Durham to find flaws in the Russia investigation. It didn't go well. The Times reports that Barr and Durham would often meet weekly in Barr's office together and drink scotch. As the Times reports, John Durham soon became a true believer, I wonder what scotch it was, in the mold of Bill Barr. Quote, as he was drawn into Barr's personal orbit, Durham came to embrace that particular attorney general's intense feelings about the Russia investigation. Probably the most explosive revelation in the Times piece is this. While on a foreign trip to Europe, Barr and Durham received a credible tip linking Donald Trump to suspected financial crimes. Rather than assign it to a different prosecutor, perhaps someone less inclined to drink scotch with him, Barr told Durham to investigate it himself. Quote, Mr. Durham never filed charges, and it remains unclear what level of an investigation it was, what steps he took, what he learned, and whether anyone at the White House ever found out. The extraordinary fact that Durham opened a criminal investigation that included scrutinizing Trump has remained secret. The investigator who was supposed to be investigating, excuse the reference, the investigators, special counsel John Durham, opened a criminal inquiry into then-President Donald Trump. But no one knows what came of it. Instead, the report dives into just how committed Bill Barr was to making sure the Durham probe uncovered something, as long as it seems, that something didn't target President Trump. The Times reports that in one meeting, Barr, quote, repeating a sexual vulgarity, warned that if the NSA wronged him by not doing all it could to help Durham, Barr would do the same to the agency. Now, I can't say that sexual vulgarity on this family program, but you probably get the idea. Months out from the election and with no sign of imminent action from John Durham, Trump began putting public pressure on the men through TV interviews and Fox News. Here was the headline out of one Trump Fox News interview in August. Quote, Trump lays down the gauntlet for Barr on Durham probe, either greatest attorney general or average guy. Well, there you have it. We also learned from the Times that when Barr and Durham could not find anything regarding abuses by the intelligence community in opening that Trump-Russia investigation, then Attorney General Barr and Durham turned their sights to Old Faithful, a Hillary Clinton conspiracy. In other words, when their probe turned up nada, when Durham came up empty-handed, Barr and Durham chased down a new hypothesis. Hillary Clinton and her campaign had colluded with the government to push a Trump-Russia conspiracy. Because when all else fails, there is always the Republican Party's number one enemy, Hillary Clinton. Quote, by summer 2020, with Election Day approaching, Mr. Barr pressed Mr. Durham to draft a potential interim report centered on the Clinton campaign and FBI gullibility or willful blindness. While Durham never ended up releasing this report, the sheer desperation by the Attorney General to give Trump a Hail Mary in the months before the election is astonishing. It became clear in the months leading up to the election that there was absolutely no evidence of a deep state conspiracy against Donald Trump. So what did Bill Barr do? Quote, by summer 2020, it was clear that the hunt for evidence supporting Barr's hunch about intelligence abuses had failed. But Barr waited until after the 2020 election to publicly concede that there had turned out to be no such sign of foreign government activity and that the CIA had stayed in its lane after all.